"Mom, I'm scared. I feel like someone wants to hurt me. Someone wants to kill me. I'm really scared. There is no one in your room. No one is watching you. I know it's just a feeling. I can't describe it, but it's intense." Only then, when she's alone, she's still whispering on the phone, tell to her mom about the mysterious sixth sense that she can't explain, but she doesn't know. The footsteps of the word God echoed so clearly, one at a time near. A fanatic with cruel intentions is driving straight to her apartment. They're about to commit a horrible act, even though there was a precise premonition of the visit of death. But it's a pity, the young girl still can't escape that fateful massacre. So what happened after all? Next, let's turn back time to 2019 to paint this horrible drama. New Rochelle is also known as New York. It's a multicultural city on the banks of the Hudson River in New York State. It's a place that's striking with an American community of islands. The streets are always clean, neat, and especially extremely high security index. Even in 2024, New Rochelle was honored, and the top 5 safest cities in the United States stand in 5th place. The lives of the people here are going well. Slow pace, a tight-knit community. Village love means close neighbor. To create a perfect picture about a city worth living in, full of peace, it's like an unwritten law of life. Hidden deep beneath that silent exterior, there are always potential threats, the dangers no one expected. And the story that we're going to tell today, it's also a terrifying testament to that. It happened right here in New Rochelle. The main character of the story is Valerie Reyes, a beautiful and gentle 2-year-old girl. She lives alone in a quiet apartment in New Rochelle, New York State. Valerie was born on the 4th of September, 1994, in a normal family right here in New York. Her parents have a total of 4 children, and Valerie is her only daughter, the little princess in the house. Valerie is shy. It is the center of all love. Taking care of her is also fun. The sun in everyone's eyes. Valerie's parents are not highly educated. The family is not very well off, but they were for their children an extremely honest education and integrity. They teach you to value family, respect for others, and always be understanding. Not only that, but they set an example for themselves. I will always support you in pursuing your dreams. Do it all the way, that you may grow in joy and happiness. A warm family filled with love. They're always tangled together. Growing up in an environment like that, Valerie of course became a girl with a heart, honesty filled with life and optimism. But look at General. She's kind of quiet and a little introverted. Her mom, Grandma Noma, has a little worried about this. She was afraid that her daughter was too gentle, too easy to trust, even though it's not a bad thing. But if Valerie meets a bad person later, this personality is easily taken advantage of. Neighbors and friends, when it comes to Valerie, all commented that she had never caused trouble, always polite and patient. Valerie likes to travel by herself, quietly painting alone, or simply hugging a book, immerse herself in her own world. She especially loves animals. Every time you go out, just see the neighbor's dog, she definitely stopped to caress and play. Her eyes were always full of tenderness. After high school graduation, like many other young people, Valerie also felt confused about the future. To share the economic burden with the family, she put her education at community college on hold to start working and making money. Her brother is a tattoo artist and she admired him very much. That talent, along with the love of painting available, Valerie began to frequent her studio. She even let her brother practice workmanship on her arm. Gradually a thought sprouted in her mind. Turn a hobby into a job. Becoming a professional image in the future. 2015, when Valerie was 21 years old, she moved out of the house. Rent a small apartment in the basement not far from home. It was the first time that this young woman had tried to live independently. The room is not large, but Valerie cleaned it up and tidied it up. Cozy and comfortable feeling. She first worked at a coffee shop. Then, when she see a job offer for a bookstore employee, Barnes & Noble is about to open in the mall. Mount Kisco. Valerie did not hesitate to register, because there's nothing happier than immersed in the smell of books all day long. So she became one of the first employees of the bookstore. For the next 3 years, Valerie works hard, always smile at customer service, and get the love from both colleagues and customers. The manager described her as a hard worker, high responsibility on time, and never absent for no reason. She's not just an employee, it also makes the bookstore warmer. Of course, Valerie never gave up her dream of becoming a tattoo artist. Just have some free time. She went back to her brother to hone her skills. However, the girl in everyone's eyes is always optimistic. She was kind and full of hope for the future. Always be careful, hiding a very weak side of yourself. She's struggling with anxiety aches and depression for a long time, but very few people know about this. Even with the support of family and friends, the symptoms are somewhat reduced, but unexplained anxiety often pull her into a state where she's alone and helpless. Beautiful young Valerie, gentle personality, and there's no shortage of pursuers around her. But her love line is full of obstacles. She used to date some boyfriends, but in the end it all ended in vain. Her last love affair ended on January 24th, a breakup that sends her deep into sadness, and she couldn't believe it. At a time of anxiety, and she's poisonous to the top. Someone is stalking her in the dark. In the 28th of January 2019, Valerie still works at the bookstore all day. As usual, everything seems to be going peacefully. There's no surprise, but in the evening, a sudden, unprovoked sense of panic. It's obviously just her, and she wasn't monitored by someone in the apartment. But the feeling, being watched by someone, is getting stronger. In her most vulnerable state, she called her mother. Her voice trembled uncontrollably. "Mom, I'm scared that something bad is going to happen. I think somebody wants to hurt me. Somebody wants to kill me. I'm really scared, Mom." Valerie and her mother were very close. There is nothing that is not confided in, even if she broke up with her boyfriend 4 days ago. So the mother anxiously asked about this. Is it related to your ex, or is there someone in the apartment, or whether she's been stalked or threatened? But all those questions are answered. Got denials from Valerie. Valerie only said that it was a very unsettling feeling. It's hard to describe in detail. Finally, she's the young woman who blames a sudden bout of anxiety. Because since breaking up with my boyfriend these days, she's always fretting, restless, and especially afraid of being alone. To ensure safety, the mother asked her daughter to go home and sleep for the night. But Valerie refused. She thought it was late at night, and the next day she's off work, so she doesn't have to leave early. She went shopping the next day. She knows how to comfort her mother. "Don't worry, Mom. You might just have a sudden headache. Don't worry too much." After hung up with Mom, Valerie messaged a close friend again. "Talk about your insecurities and worries." She still insists that I feel like somebody's trying to kill me. They talked for a long time, but still can't find the cause of that scary feeling. Finally, both can only assume that it's anxiety. Besides, Valerie has been reading too much crime detective lately. Until about 11:30 p.m., Valerie really couldn't stay awake. Her two eyelids just kept sticking together. She texted her friend, "I'm too sleepy to open my eyes." Then they said goodnight, and Valerie went to bed. No one expected that sleep was the last time Valerie exists in this world. The last message she sent to her best friend. Turns out, it's her fateful goodbye to the world. The next day, the mother waited at home without seeing her daughter. She thought maybe Valerie had slept late last night and hadn't woken up yet. She'll want her daughter to get a good night's sleep, so didn't bother to call until evening. Valerie still didn't get back to her mother. Calls are always in a state where they can't be connected. Suddenly she remembered the times before Valerie had an anxiety attack. She usually likes to be alone, or go painting in a nearby park. Maybe a few hours, or even a whole day. Maybe this time too, so she's not too worried. Until the third day, which is January 30th, things are starting to get unusual. Valerie didn't go to the bookstore to work. Something that's never happened before. Plus being unable to contact her. Her coworker at the bookstore was very upset. Call Valerie's mother. Only now is the mother stunned. Realized that her daughter has been in trouble. At 2:43 p.m. the same day, Valerie's parents with her ex-boyfriend, who broke up with her a few days ago. 3 people. They rushed to the police station to report it. The mother told the police that her daughter, before she disappeared, she made it very clear that someone wanted to kill her. The police realized the seriousness of the incident. No waiting according to the normal process. That immediately launched a search for Valerie's apartment. Preliminary investigation shows the house shows no signs of being broken into. The inside is relatively tidy, with no trace of friction. Besides, some of Valerie's personal items are missing, like an iPhone, iPad, wallet, and some clothes. Full look. This is very much a sign of initiative. Leave the house somewhere. For police officers, This is actually not uncommon. They regularly handle cases of young people missing for a few days due to conflict, family, and love. Then they'll be safe again after they've had a mental break. But Valerie's mother, determined to assert, "This is absolutely not Valerie's style," she said. "Me and Valerie have a very close relationship. Everything is shared, will never suddenly disappear. Even more impossible, leave work without warning." Valerie's family agreed that she was kidnapped. In that situation, the police had to check the apartment. This place, of course, they've made a new discovery. On the bathroom floor, on the edge of the toilet, and on the pillow, a very small amount was found. Blood, but too little blood, police said. That's not enough to constitute criminal evidence. So they just broadcast missing persons reports and still thinks the problem isn't too serious. She's probably going out somewhere on her own. Maybe she will be back in a few days. But Valerie's family doesn't think so. They're very worried. Rushed to print a lot of flyers looking for people, plastered all over a nearby street corner. And they're also posting people on social media. They even hired an experienced private detective to participate in the investigation. The private detective investigated that, at about 5 a.m. on January 29th, Valerie's bank card was used to withdraw $1,000. It's still unclear who the withdrawals are. The extraction of the camera monitoring requires procedures and time. A few days later, the police also began to realize that something was wrong. They support the family in their search efforts. With the spread of the internet, all kinds of clues pouring in. Someone said they saw Valerie at the station. The train is on January 30th. Some even claimed to have met her in but all these clues later, once verified, they are excluded. This is not because someone deliberately disturbing information, getting the wrong person based solely on the photo on the flyer. Finding people is a normal phenomenon, and so on for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Then very quickly, it's been a week. Valerie's still in the dark. Now everyone is realizing that time to rescue the kidnapped victim has passed. The police didn't even hope for Valerie is alive. Her parents washed her face with tears all day. They really can't understand. My daughter is so gentle. After all, who did this to her? Up to 5 halves. That's 8 days after Valerie was last found. There's finally news, but it's heartbreaking news. At 8:20 a.m., 5 halves, Greenwich Police Department, Connecticut, received a correction call. A couple of road cleaners, while cleaning up the highway, found a red suitcase stand out in an unusual way. Among the dry leaves, it's almost 5 meters away. This area is part of Greenwich. It's the border between New York and Connecticut. It's only 16 kilometers from Valerie's house. For a suitcase that suddenly appeared on the side of the road, people's first reaction is usually curious about the inside. But this worker found out this suitcase is extremely alert. By 2 days ago, he just worked here and didn't see any suitcase. He tried to pull the suitcase. It's unusually heavy and gives off an unpleasant smell. This moment in his head is immediately connected to the body pictures hidden in suitcase in the crime stories. Because of God, he didn't dare to open it. That immediately report to the manager. The manager rushed to the scene. He was braver than determined to open the suitcase raw. And then he witnessed a lifelong haunting scene. Inside the suitcase was a shrunken woman's body. He immediately reported to the police. It is worth mentioning that after reporting to the police, he even did a stupid thing. Take a picture of your card and post it online. He was later punished for this act. Police, Greenwich quickly arrived and cordoned off the scene. Autopsy. Preliminary show. The woman in the suitcase with curly black hair, about 30 years old, 2 hands tied behind the back. The ankles and knees are all tied up. On the head there are obvious wounds. On the face, there are bruises. Mouth is glued with layers of adhesive tape. 2 feet without shoes, even though you're wearing clothes. But the shirt's completely ripped off. The body has started to decompose, and there are spots, characteristics of the process from the transformation exam. Plus the ambient temperature is quite cold. The time of death cannot be determined. Preliminary estimates are a few days. The exact cause of death, more autopsies are needed. Right after that, the police held a press conference at the scene, call on the public, supply and reveal the basic characteristics of the victim. Not long after, the official autopsy report was released. The cause of death was involuntary asphyxia. It means killed. What this means is, the woman was most likely stuffed in a suitcase and then suffocated in an enclosed space. We talked about a murder. Hide the body in another suitcase. There's a similar story about the identity of the victim. I believe you have already guessed. That's Valerie. She's been missing for days. In fact, fact, as soon as the suitcases powered up the local police, we learned about Valerie's missing persons case nearby, so the next day, they notified Valerie's family, come to identify. At the morgue, when relatives saw the cold body, they immediately burst into tears they couldn't contain. They don't want to believe that the daughter, that a few days earlier was still filled with laughter, in the house now that it's separate. When news of Valerie's death broke, the entire community is in terrible grief. At the same time, people also feel very insecure and scared because at the time, there's been several murders in the neighborhood. On 7/2 during a memorial service held at the park, Glen Island, hundreds of local residents volunteered to light candles. Let's remember that sweet girl. While people are drowning in grief, the investigation work. The police force is also being deployed urgently. The police speculated that this is a case committed by an acquaintance, because Valerie's apartment shows no signs of being broken into. This is in conjunction with Norma's earlier statement that her daughter said someone wanted to hurt her. While Valerie has never hated anyone, if there's a little bit of a rush, it's just that breaking up with your boyfriend wasn't fun. The police are investigating Valerie's ex-boyfriend William, who broke up with her for days before she went missing. The results showed that his suspicions were not great. After the case, William was actively involved in the search, full cooperation with the police investigation, and there's evidence outside of that. So, he was quickly removed as a suspect. So the police diverted the investigation to Valerie's other and quickly localize a person. Javier De Silva. This man broke up with Valerie in April 2018, and their breakup didn't go so well. After further investigation, the police found out that the suspicion of Javier is enormous. Javier De Silva was born on the 1st of March 1995. In a normal family in Venezuela, he grew up in a pretty laid-back suburb. However, due to the unstable political and economic situation in the country, the unemployment rate soared. Looking for a better future, Javier was still studying. The college decided to move to the United States. He entered the United States the 5th of August, 2017, bring a Portuguese passport, and through the visa waiver program. This program allows citizens of other countries. He was assigned to enter the United States. Visa exemption for business or travel purposes, up to 90 days. Of course, a lot of people stayed illegally, and Javier is one of them. Javier, hiding in Flushing, Queen, New York, silently doing the work, part-time at restaurants and cafes, although the income is not high, but life is stable. In January 2018, he knew Valerie on a dating site. They talk very nicely online. Then we officially met in person. Seems to have fallen in love at first sight with Valerie. But the puzzling thing is, he said the bottom line is that he likes Valerie. Is the smell? According to him, she smells very charming. Look at their photos together. They seem so beautiful. But this love didn't last long. 3 months later, it was broken. The reason for the breakup is unknown. However, there are documents that show that Javier has a good personality, aggressive, and Valerie, because of her personality, so she's a little nervous and depressed, not ready for a serious relationship. So when a boyfriend wants to move into her apartment to live together, Valerie was afraid to step back and evasively refused. They finally broke up, whether that's the reason or not. In short, the breakup made Javier very angry. He repeatedly sought out Valerie in hopes of healing, but they're all rejected. According to Valerie's friends, Javier was extremely unstable after the breakup. He tried to contact me many times. They're even stalking Valerie's workplace. It makes their relationship look like an enemy. More, the police investigation this time showed Javier has a history of violence. He attacked an ex-girlfriend and was arrested. More important, like we said before, the detective discovered the transaction record. Withdraw money from Valerie's bank card. Then, the bank has provided surveillance cameras at the ATM. They found out at dawn on January 29. Withdrawals $1,000 United States dollars. Is a man in dark pants, black hoodie and white sneakers. Black, he got off a Honda CR-V. Despite the makeup and the blurry surveillance, they can't see the face clearly. But traffic cameras record the license plate clearly. Police follow the clues. Investigating alright. The car belongs to a car rental company in the state, New York. Then, through the car rental company's registration information, they quickly identified the car's renter as Javier. In addition, his behavior is also extremely suspicious. Right after Valerie's body was found, he directly hired a lawyer. What did he suddenly hire a lawyer for? Arnie reveals his own hiding place. All the clues show he's got a serious motive. So, the police quickly got a search warrant, conduct a detailed search of his car and apartment. Immediately more solid evidence came out. In his wallet, the police found the card, bank and driver's license belonged to Venati. In his apartment, they discovered the kind of rope and tape. It's the same type that was used to tie Valerie up. The most important thing is the search history. His phone shows, the night of the murder, he's constantly looking for a way to clean up the scene, the body handling case, and we're looking for a map of Greenwich, Connecticut. The words, "Lock this cold search like blades," piercing through every layer of camouflage. The 2nd of November 2019, 2 weeks after Valerie was murdered, the police arrested Javier at his apartment in Queens. Originally, he's been held without charge of bank card theft. In the process, interrogating Javier, he firmly denies any crime. But when the police put out surveillance footage and car rental agreement, he knows there's no denying, so he admitted to bank robbery. But that's it. When the forensic evidence from the police side is gradually announced, Javier's DNA was found in his fingernails, Valerie's breasts and genitals. It's all irrefutable evidence. Before this evidence, he has no words to say. He admitted to his unclean behavior, but he insisted that this was an accident. His testimony is, "There is still love between us. At dawn on January 29th, I was invited to her apartment. That and we had sex. But in the mystical moment, because the movement is so strong, we accidentally fell out of bed. She was hit on the head and passed out on the spot. I tried artificial respiration, but I couldn't save her. Sorry, I'm a bad guy, I'm a coward. I didn't choose to go to the police for fear of being hunted by the police. I stuffed her body in a suitcase. The suitcase is too small. I can only tie her hands and feet and throw it in the woods in Greenwich. Then I drained the money from the suitcase's bank card, go into many waves, at many different ATMs, a total of $5,350 USD. He firmly denies the crime of attempted murder. He said it was an accident. He even said he was ready to surrender, and that act of surrender is withdrawing money from the bank. He believes that doing so, they'll help the police track him down. To this mythical defense of Javier, the police didn't believe a word. The wounds on Valerie's head and face, along with calculated dismemberment behavior, it shows that this was not an accident. The kidnapping happened in New York State. The location of the body is in Connecticut. This case constitutes a typical federal crime. FBI. The case was handed over to the Joint Investigation Department. Federal police have indicted the VA on charges. Federal kidnapping led to front person. This is one of the sins. The most serious name in the law. United States of America. Once the kidnapping leads to the death of the victim, whether the cause of death was intentional negligence or an accident, the defendants all face mandatory sentences, life imprisonment or death penalty. The nature of the case is extremely serious. Javier is facing federal felony charges again. To stop him from escaping, the judge denied the bail request. The case has entered a period of extensive investigation. The FBI with the police, Greenwich and New Rochelle, we've done a more comprehensive collection of evidence. As the clues are pieced together, the behavior of Javier is also gradually reconstructed into a worthy picture. Disgusting, surveillance camera, contact profile, phone and many other clues show Javier's crimes. It's an organized murder. Have a purpose. He rented a Honda CR-V in broad daylight on January 8, 10:50 p.m. the same day. He left his apartment in Flushing and drove straight to Valerie's apartment. Before entering the house, he deliberately switched the phone to airplane mode. Then, it's a series of his attacks in the apartment. Although we can't know the specifics, but it can be confirmed that the two of them had a heated argument and escalated into violence. Anita tried to resist but failed. Her head was hit several times and violently, finally unconscious. Then Javier stuffed her in a suitcase and flew her dead in the middle of the night. During that time, he even used Valerie's fingerprints to unlock her phone. Check the different information in the phone, especially the message, chat and bank account balance. At 9:40 a.m. on January 29, the surveillance camera recorded the scene. Go back to your apartment in San Francisco. Unhandle a travel bag. A few minutes later, he left with Tano as mentioned earlier. Some of Valerie's electronics are missing. They're in the travel bag that Javier carried. And then he sold these devices. To buy myself an Apple screen and the laptop, don't change. He even took a selfie with Triumph, as if bragging about this word of his own. At the same time, he drained the money from his bank account. Valerie in multiple waves. at different on 6 halves, that is. The day after the exam, Valerie's card was found. Javier even went back to the same car rental company. Renting the Honda Civic used to be a tool of crime, and then he meticulously washed the car to remove all traces of crime. This is also explained by us. The police didn't find out too much at first. Clues in the car. The chain of evidence is complete. All the clues show this is a well-planned murder. Javier probably understood that it was hard to get away with it. If the case goes to the normal trial stage, what's waiting for him is a life sentence. There's no chance of parole. He was finally persuaded by a lawyer in the 2nd of April 2020. That's over a year after Valerie was murdered. He's reached a plea deal with the prosecution. He admitted to federal kidnapping, leading to death. Add to that, lawyers for both sides have repeatedly argued over the charges. That makes the final sentence procrastinate over and over again. September 23, 2021. This belated trial is finally happening. Based on a plea deal, the judge finally ruled Javier 35 in prison without parole because he is an illegal immigrant. Once he's out of prison, he will be deported from the United States immediately. Even though Javier chose to plead guilty and accept the punishment, but there's a mystery at the core of this case, has not been fully resolved. That's his almost crazy motive for murder. On the surface, two people have a conflict about breaking up. But contradictions, that's a long way from the level to take the enemy's life, although the police attributed the motive to greed and jealousy. But this seemingly simple conclusion, that makes the whole case become more paranoid and angry. How scary it is psychologically, after all, when just such a normal emotional conflict. He killed his ex. The answer may lie in Javier himself. Reality has proven that his inner self is extremely dangerous, full of tendencies. Violence cannot be controlled. For him, crime is only a matter of time, and prison is the inevitable destination. It's also the best place, in such a dangerous way. Another detail of the case, it makes people think of horror. That's the sixth sense. It can't be explained by science. When Valerie, talking on the phone with mom and friends, expressed fear and feeling that someone wanted to kill her, then in fact, the act of murder against her was actually taking place. When she talks to her mother, Javier's driving the rental car to her apartment. When she sends her last message to her friend, said that she couldn't open his eyes anymore. Not long after that, Javier, full of evil, came to the door. This hunch is strange, even though science can't explain it. But just look at these cases. This so-called sixth house seems to actually exist, and it's very real. Valerie's death is a heartbreaking reminder about possible dangers. He lives in a seemingly peaceful life, most from a sweet girl who has a simple dream in him and constant anxiety. She has become the victim of a cold-hearted criminal. That the real motive remains a mystery. Even though Javier paid the price for the barbaric crime, he was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Not near pardons, but the pain of Valerie's family will never fade away. And maybe what the most haunted was Valerie's terrifying hunch, a warning from the depths of my soul that she can't escape. This story again shows us that sometimes the most vague fears can lead to the greatest tragedies. Today's video ends here. I'll see you in the next videos. Goodbye.